Welcome to Delta Wing Aviation Academy, where we prepare you for takeoff.
Welcome back to this continuation of the medical certificate video. In the previous video, we discussed FAR 61.3 required pilot documents, including pilot certificate, photo ID, and medical certificate. FAR 61.23, which defines the three classes of medical certificates and their validity periods. Now, in this video, we will move forward and cover the following important topics, along with some Checkride style questions. FAR 61.53, temporary medical disqualifications and limitations. P.A.K3. Chapter 17, medical overview and guidance for pilots, including different classes of medical certificates, how long they are valid, medical standards required to fly, disqualifying medical conditions, pilot responsibility, AIM 811, FAA, guidance on medical disqualifications. So let's continue and build on what we learned earlier. Now let's start with FAR 61.53, which covers temporary medical disqualifications. All right, pilots, let's understand this in the simplest way. This regulation is all about your responsibility as a pilot. Even if you have a valid medical certificate, you are not allowed to fly if you are not medically fit. What does FAR 61.53 actually say? It says, no pilot may act as a required flight crew member if they know they have a medical condition that makes them unsafe to fly. Simple way to remember, fit to fly, not just certified to fly. Real-life examples. Let's make this practical. You cannot fly if you have a high fever, you are taking medication that causes drowsiness, you have severe cold or sinus blockage, you feel dizzy, fatigued, or unwell. Even though your medical certificate is still valid, you must self-ground. Very important point. The FAA puts the responsibility on you, not the doctor. The AME checks you once during the exam, but your health can change any day. So you must decide before every flight if you are fit to fly. IMSAFE checklist, Checkride favorite. Use this before every flight. I, illness, M, medication, S, stress, A, alcohol, F, fatigue, and E, emotion. If any of these affect you, then do not fly. Checkride tip. The examiner may ask, your medical certificate is valid, but you have a bad cold. Can you fly? Answer is no. FAR 61.53 requires you to not operate if unsafe. Final simple line. Your medical certificate gives you permission to fly, but FAR 61.53 decides whether you should fly today. Now let's move on to AIM 811, medical disqualifications. All right, pilots, now let's talk about what can actually stop you from flying medically. While FAR 61.53 tells you when you should not fly, AIM 811 helps explain why by describing medical conditions that can disqualify a pilot. What does AIM 811 say? It explains that certain medical conditions listed in FAA regulations, FAR Part 67, can make a pilot medically unfit to fly. Simple way to understand, if a condition affects safety, it can disqualify you. Common disqualifying conditions. Some examples include alcohol dependence or abuse, serious mental health conditions like severe personality disorders, neurological conditions like seizures or epilepsy, heart conditions that can affect consciousness, vision problems not meeting standards. These conditions can affect judgment, coordination, consciousness, and decision-making, which are all critical for safe flying. Important point, not all conditions are permanent disqualifications. Some can be temporarily grounding or allowed under special issuance with FAA approval. What should a pilot do? If you are unsure about your condition, do not contact an aviation medical examiner, AME. Career advice, very important. If you are planning to become a professional pilot, it is highly recommended to get a first-class medical early. Why? Because it's better to discover a problem before spending money on training, not after. Checkride tip. Question may ask, where can you find guidance about medical disqualifying conditions? Answer, AIM 811 and FAR Part 67. Final simple line. FAR 6153 tells you when to stop flying. AIM 811 helps you understand what conditions can stop you. Checkride tip questions. If you take your medical at age 39 and turn 40 the next day, how long is it valid? Answer, 60 months, because validity is based on age at the time of exam. Question, can you fly without a medical certificate? Answer, yes, in some cases like basic med, glider or balloon operations. Question, can you fly if you have a cold or are taking medication that makes you drowsy? Answer, no, if you are not medically fit, you must self-ground. Question, your medical is valid, but you feel unwell before a flight. Can you still fly? Answer, no, FAR 6153 requires you to not act as PIC if unsafe. Question, what happens when higher level privileges expire? Answer, you don't lose the certificate, you simply step down to lower privileges. Question, what lasts longer, ATP, commercial, or private privileges? Answer, private privileges last the longest. What's next? There's still more important topics we need to cover to fully understand FAA medical certification. In the upcoming videos, we'll talk about basic med, soda, and no, not the drink. It stands for Statement of Demonstrated Ability, special issuance medical certificates, and additional reference guidance such as PA.I.K.3, Chapter 17, Medical Overview and Pilot Guidance, AIM 811, Medical Disqualification Guidance. We'll go through each of these step by step in the next videos, so stay with us and keep learning. Thanks for watching. If this helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating clear, FAA accurate aviation education. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the next video.